So again, welcome. Thank you very, very much for inviting me in this today's workshop of Gearbox. I know that you're doing a great job, and I hope that you continue doing it. Entrepreneurship all around the world is becoming more and more important. And during these difficult times with COVID, I know that it's summer in Chile, it's winter in Europe, so a lot of victims and everybody staying at home, not being able to go out and express opinions, have a human relation. Even though through Zoom, let's do our best to find communication today, okay? So let me start by introducing myself. I am Panos or Pana. I love that word. So I will be always Pana. Difficult, long Greek name. I am an economist by education, and I have worked for a lot of years in consulting, technology consulting. We have built an incubator here in Greece during the last decade. I have worked also in communications and marketing, and I am a co-founder of Saint Startup, which is an application that I will talk to you like later. And I've been helping startups to grow since 2012. In Greece, I've done it in France, in Chile, and in the UK. So it's always great for me to hear new ideas and help people to grow these ideas into a product from my line of business, let's say, which is more branding and marketing. So I will just tell you two things about Saint Startup. This is a free web application that you can use in order to guide you from the idea stage till your first clients. And it's super easy. You log in to saintstartup.com. And when you do that, you answer 4 questions. The question is, what's your name? Which is the sector or industry that you work in? What kind of product you're creating, and through which channel you're going to sell that product. And by answering these questions, we help you creating 11 to 14 categories of tareas that you have to do, tasks, in order to make that journey from the idea to the market. And you can always watch your progress in this journey through our visualization tool. Everything is confidential. You don't give us any more information than your name and the industry you work in. So you can share also your personal profile with investors or mentors so that they can see your maturity. So these are 2-3 things for Saint Startup. And let's dig into our theme today, which is branding. And branding is a peculiar animal, let's say. Okay, let's start by some kind of definitions. In marketing, what we do is that we say to our target group, who we are and what value we have. So let's say that I'm shouting to girls out there, I'm a great lover, I'm a great lover, I'm a great lover. Marketing gets the idea, the value, while advertising is taking that message and saying it a lot of times through a lot of different channels. So I'm shouting to people that I'm interested in, I'm great in what I do, I'm great in what I do, I'm great in what I do. In public relations, what we do, we are using third people to say our message. So trust me when I tell you that this person is good in what they say. But branding is magical because we are convincing our audience to tell us and the rest of the world what we are good in. So this is what we're going to talk today, how we make our target group talk about us. So introduction, a brand is a name that you give to your products or services, but the most interesting thing about that is that you provide your products and services an identity. An identity for a product or service means the image that you want people to have through your product, the values that you bring in that product, your vision and your mission. So it's not just about a name and it's not just about a logo, it's about who you are. And when you are there, it's easy to convince people. But when you are not, when you are on a shelf in a supermarket or in a software, I don't know, around the world, you're not there. So you have to consolidate all this information into your brand. Let's talk first about your image. The idea about the image of your brand is about who and about how. Who is my target group? Who is going to have an interaction with me? And that idea of interaction regards how people, your target group, talk about you and how they relate to you, how they create relationships. That means that they have an experience of your brand. So your image has to do with this one, who, your target group, and two, hows, how they talk about you and how they relate with you. So a brand image is about a company, is about a product or many products, and it has to do about adjectives. So if you see that image, which is Apple, of course, the beaten apple, the first thing that comes to your mind is Apple's products, of course. And the idea that you have about these products, you can talk to other people about this brand using adjectives. It can be innovative, expensive, luxurious, something that builds my status, okay? But brand images people can also have brand images. Imagine using adjectives for this person compared to adjectives about this person. When we personify, when we take abstract notions like a brand image and we use it for a person or a tangible good that we can buy in a supermarket, it becomes more clear. When we have services, it's a little bit more difficult. So put Obama or Joe Biden versus Mr. Trump and try to compare the image that you have for them, okay? And both of us, we're not their target audience because we don't vote in the United States. Help God for that we don't have to vote for those people. But anyway, you had to vote, for example, in the referendum that you had last year. So you had an idea, an image about things that were going on in your country. We were also people that love Chile. We were discussing a lot about what was happening in your country. I would really like to have a discussion with you all about that, but in another context, let's say. So try to keep in your mind that your brand is a name that you give to your products or services, but that name has an identity behind it. Values, the image that you portray, you show to other people, mission and vision about where you want to be. And remember that when you create that image, people think about that and they use adjectives to characterize it. So let's go. The first thing that you have to do in order to build your brand is choose a name for your company and your product. And that name has to create in people's minds images. It's not only a name, it creates feelings, and that's what we want to do with our potential customers. But let's make it more simple, okay? Let's say that any name that you will choose can be successful if you have time and a lot of cash to convince people that with this name, right or wrong, you're portraying the right value for them. But since now, from the next slide, we will give you some examples on how to choose a name that is good for you. And the good for you is good for your product. And what is good for your product is good for your potential clients. So whenever you think anything about marketing, branding, advertising, you always have in the center of the picture your potential client, your customer. So a name must be something that your customers will like. So if you are creating a food product, you cannot name it shit. because they will not like it. You may like it, but they don't. It has to be different than your competitors, so that when I go to your channel of distribution, I can choose your product and not the other company's product. It has to be familiar and pleasant and create memories for me. If you have a story behind your name, that's the best thing you can do. I was talking yesterday to a potential client, and they are creating products for men, beauty products, for beards and creams and whatever is by that. So why should we do all this work? Is it important for us? Yes, it is, because it's what we say, word of mouth. How do we say that in Spanish? I don't know. When I'm speaking to someone and that someone is taking my message to someone else.
Claro, es como el boca a boca acá en Chile.
Yes, which is the most important thing you can do to communicate your brand. It takes time. But we, who are startuppers and poor, we have a new world that can help us in spreading the boca a boca, which is social media. So if you go out there and you see studies about the most viable medium of advertising, this is the recommendations from people I know. Not what you say in your branded website, what people that I know say about you, branding. And they have to know, and everybody say the same thing. You are a great lover. You are a great lover. You are a great lover. I'm not saying I'm a great lover. She's saying it. My audience, okay? And as time goes by, word of mouth, the traditional one, is not replaced, but is coupled by spreading the word of mouth through social media. So this is super important also. But which social media? The one that your target group is there, and what people that they know in that social medium is important to them. So again, if you're selling banking software, what people say about you in Facebook is not important. What people are saying in the articles you wrote in LinkedIn and their comments, who commented and what they said can be important. Okay, so the idea for you is when you have created your brand and your image, to get people involved, to get people to be interested in what you're saying. In order to do that, you don't just need awareness or likes on Facebook. What you need is people talking about you. Your first client, a mentor, your coach, Gearbox, Yeribert, people which are, their word has credibility. Because as startuppers, we all face the same illness. It's called liability of being new. People don't know us. We are new. They haven't used us. So we need that credibility because we don't have it. Apple has 40 years of history. People have used it. They know that it's credible. But if I create a smartphone now, nobody knows me. So I need that credibility. I need people talking about me. In the media that my target group is consuming, is using. Ecosystem, 5 steps. 1, discover your ecosystem. Your market uses specific media. Know them. Know the people behind them, know how they are used and why they are used. So know your ecosystem. If you, as a person, you have visibility because you're known, for example, in your domain, you're a professor in the university, and you have credibility, then use yourself as an advocate for your product or company, okay? Do you know that Tesla owner has more followers than Tesla itself? So he himself is an advocate of his product, even more important than his product. That's why they don't kick him out with the shit, with the stupid things he's saying around the world. Anyway, second thing, know your customer. And when you know your customer, try to design the journey that that customer is making from I need a product or a service to coming to you and buying from you. If you're selling commercial products, end products, supermarket products, let's say, then the journey is easier to identify, is easier to see, but more difficult and more costly to get in that journey. When you're selling to businesses, the journey is more difficult to identify because you don't know what is happening inside the mining company, only if you have worked in a mining company, which is good, or you know people who work in a mining company. And then you have to sketch. I speak to the head of production, but the head of production can say the product is good, but he's not paying for it. So he has to talk to the financial manager, or I do. Or do I go directly to the CEO? But this is the correct path. The journey is the path that you have to use in order to give incentives to your clients to buy till they are in their basket and they have given you their credit card and they have bought the product. Create a mission statement. A mission statement will help you understand what you're doing and put things into words, but also it will be an anchor, a guiding light for you. Okay, let's see how we create a mission statement. We use the mission statements in order to create content for social media. Because I don't just go in Facebook or LinkedIn and upload a picture, I don't know, smoking. I do things because they matter to my audience, okay? In that way, from that content, I will understand your client, I will understand who you are and what is your positioning. And by that way, it will be more easy for me to understand what you are selling and why, what's the value for me. Mission statement is saying these following things. Welcome to Since Startup, the place where startuppers and accelerators can get what they can get, the value that I'm bringing to them, in order to make you what is the outcome you want to be produced for your customers. I will give you an example which I like very, very much, and it's a funny one. You all know Red Bull, right? And I think Red Bull is also sponsoring your event. So I didn't use that but now I did the connection. So anyway, at some point I was trying to explain to some of my students what a creative brief is. And searching for it, I found a Red Bull creative brief. And what they're saying is that at some point in Red Bull, they didn't just want to sell to young people. They wanted to sell also to older people. So they created a story that was saying to people around my age, between 44 and 55, they have what we call a midlife crisis. They're not old, but they're not young enough. So they have a history behind them with successes and failures. So you go through a depressive period in your life when you think that you don't have the youth to do new things. And Red Bull wanted to sell to those people an energy drink. Red Bull should say something to these people, okay, for that energy drink. So what Red Bull is saying through that creative brief is, welcome to Red Bull, where middle-aged men and women can get their balls back. Because in that midlife crisis, I feel weak. So Red Bull is telling me, you are strong. Get your balls back. Be strong. In order for you to do new things, adventure things, okay? And when you do that, you can also find a stability in your own life. It's not bad that you're older. Get your balls back, okay? And when you do all this, it's time for you to build your ecosystem and portray your brand in that ecosystem. So for me, I will only wish you all the luck in order to create all these difficult but very beautiful and very useful tools and start building your own brand's ecosystem. So I thank you very, very much for your attention.